How do you make $100 million or even $1 billion with this AI opportunity if you are not a tech person? You're not a software engineer, you don't know how to code, and maybe you're not even good with these simple AI automations that you can build on platforms like Make.com, N8N, and be able to integrate them into companies. That has been the most important question for me to answer for myself. My background is not in building systems. Can I think in systems? Of course I can, right? Because if you're going to build a company and make, a lot of money, you need to be able to think in systems. But I'm not the person in client acquisition at IO who's clicking all the buttons, who's leveraging all these platforms. I have a bunch of systems integrators, a bunch of engineers within my company to do the building. But there is an even greater problem. One of the things that I've been looking at and studying is the rate of commoditization of people who do a lot of these AI integrations, building these workflows and, automating them and, plugging them into companies. The rate at which the experts who do a lot of these AI automations are kind of like being created in the market is so high that I believe that in the next year or so, none of these workflows that people are building on these platforms will be the thing that makes you rich, okay? Essentially what I'm saying is building AI automations is not going to be something that is going to be a premium for long, because the rate at which skilled labor that can create those is being created is just so high, okay? So for me, I'm not trying to play the game in something that I know is going to be commoditized a year from now. I need to play a game where I know that in the future I'm going to be luckier. So I've been doing a lot of research, and last year is when I kind of like stumbled on this idea of AI driven buyouts, okay? I came across this idea and strategy while studying two guys. The first one is Joe Lonsdale, who's a co-founder of Palantir. He has also gone on to start 4 companies that all hit $1 billion valuation or greater. He's worth also almost $2 billion, FYI. The second guy is Elad Gil, who's also a founder of a company called Color Genomics, which at its last financing round was worth $4.6 billion, around that, okay? But he's also a prolific angel investor, okay? I love studying investors. I love studying billionaires, okay? Because you study billionaires, you inevitably make at least $1 million, okay? So what is this AI-driven buyouts about, okay? Let me explain how they're leveraging AI-driven buyouts to potentially build billion-dollar companies. Step number 1 is you acquire a company in a specific vertical. Then you radically change the cost structure and scale its operations by implementing AI in every single layer and function of that business. That's step number 2. Step number 3 is once you've literally built an AI augmented company, let's use an example. You go into the solar industry. So solar, as an example, they have to generate leads. They literally build sales teams where they knock on doors. Then you need someone to sell. Then you need someone to actually, install the solar on the roof, right? But then you have a lot of financing that goes on, right? Because most people who are sold solar, they don't necessarily have to pay out of pocket. They have to finance the whole thing, right? So think of all these layers: marketing, sales, operations, fulfillment, financing, HR, all these things. You literally go every step of the way and you change every processes with AI. Once you've done that and you've built a solar company that's AI enabled or AI augmented, then step 3 is they go ahead and roll up as many companies as you can in that same vertical. So if you were able to build one AI augmented solar company, then you can go ahead and literally acquire every single competitor in your market and then roll them up into one bucket, into one portfolio, where you apply the same playbook of implementing AI, where you radically change the cost structure of the business, then you scale the thing, the operations, leveraging AI, right? And this is, in my opinion, for people who aren't like tech people, software engineers, where we spend all our day in the systems clicking at buttons and building a bunch of workflows, that's where we're gonna win. Especially if you're someone who's business minded and who understands strategy and who can think bigger than just like, how do you create an AI voice agent? Or how do you create an AI WhatsApp setter, right? I'm not saying that being an engineer or being someone who builds these AI automation isn't a great opportunity. It is great if you wanna make $500,000 a year and make it, working really hard. That's why at the beginning of this video, I didn't necessarily say how do you make 10K per month or how to make 100 grand a month, right? I'm talking about how do you make 9 figures and beyond. For you to make 9 figures, you need to be thinking different from what everybody else does, okay? This is, in my opinion, the best path to making real money. And when I say real money, sorry, but I'm gonna curse, I mean fuck you money, AKA generational wealth, the type of abundance that takes care of yourself, the people that you love, and your kids are still going to be taken care of when you're not here anymore, okay? And it's primarily because of two things. One, it forces you to acquire higher leveraged skill sets, okay? You're not just gonna need to understand AI, you're also gonna need to understand business building. You're gonna need to understand how to acquire companies. You're gonna need to understand how to build teams, hire people, attract talent. So while AI, this technology, commoditizes knowledge and intelligence, you're now becoming much better in playing the game, or at least acquiring skills that allows you to play in higher leveraged business opportunities and vehicles, okay? And a lot of people are understanding this. Let's look at someone like Alex Hormozi. He goes from running gyms to selling gym growth playbooks with Gym Launch, makes millions and millions of dollars profit. But then he stops that, he exits that company to now get into private equity, where he's acquiring the companies that he's helping scale, right? The reason why private equity is a much more attractive business model is because of the following. A company that's making, let's say, $1 million to $3 million a year profit, EBITDA, right? They can get around a 3x multiple. If they're making $3 million a year, if they wanted to exit, they could maybe make $12 million, okay? But check this out. In private equity, when you acquire businesses and you roll them up and you build a portfolio and you put them together, let's say you put together 5 companies that's doing $3 million, which would end up being $15 million. That portfolio now gets a 10x to 12x multiple when you actually want to exit it, right? So if you're running a $3 million profit a year business, you could get $12 million when you're selling it. If you put $15 million from 5 different companies, each making $3 million a year, that 3x multiple goes to 10x multiple. You get a 7x alpha from putting together companies. So when I say that this is a much more higher leverage opportunity, it's exactly because of the difference in multiple that you get when you put a bunch of companies together. And the reason why you get a higher multiple is because there's just less risk. You have a specific playbook, you've built the teams, you centralize teams that run these businesses that help them scale up. So, and then you also have reduced risk on market, on the customers, and all that good stuff, right? This is where the puck is going, and this is where the big money is to be made for guys like me who love the game of business, who want to build great wealth for the people that we love, but who don't necessarily just want to sell off to becoming AI automation experts or build AI automation agencies, primarily because that will get super commoditized. It's super low barrier. I'm sure you guys have seen millions of YouTube videos with millions of views where it's a bunch of people all over the world wanting to become AI automation agencies, right? I don't want to compete with them. I want to play a game that they cannot play, or at least that's higher barrier than subscribing to a platform where you can start making AI workflows and automations, okay? Now, if you're wanting to get started and make your first $5,000 a month, please go ahead and learn these AI automation workflows and go ahead and sell it to businesses, right? Our AI playbook and our build and release AI model's ultimate goal is to allow us to build real wealth for ourselves, which is why it's a lot different from what everybody else is leveraging to take advantage of this AI opportunity, as it has 3 phases. Phase number 1 is we pick a specific vertical, a specific market. Then we uncover what gap these businesses want to bridge. Then we sell them an AI growth infrastructure. We charge $7,000, $15,000, $20,000, depending on the returns that you can deliver to these businesses. You can charge up to 50 grand, even 100 grand or more, right? But once you've done that and you've made your first $1 million in a year, $2, $3, $5 million a year, then you want to actually start building a community, and you want to actually put all of these businesses together where you help them refine their systems, and at the same time you're ascending them and selling them new AI solutions, right? Once you figure out all the AI solutions that these businesses need to truly become an AI augmented company, then you want to stop selling services or AI implementation and integration, and instead you want to go into phase 3, which is start acquiring companies, right? And you already have a pool of some of the best operators that you've already sold into your service. They're going to trust you more than anyone who comes from the outside who's just trying to acquire their businesses, right? You're going to pick the top founders, the top operators in your community, and you're going to be like, hey, do you want to partner in acquiring businesses just like yours, right? At least that's how it would work in theory, okay? And then you want to partner with this operator because you're not going to be the one operating these businesses. Then you guys want to go on a tear where you guys acquire as many companies in your vertical. You already have the AI playbook. They already know how to operate the business, and you just go ahead and acquire as many companies as you want, right? You can either get rich quick and make a bunch of money with an exit, or you can just acquire these businesses and hold them forever and get cash flow until the end of time, the typical way that Warren Buffett does it, okay? If and when I do start acquiring companies, in my opinion, I would love to hold on to these assets because they're productive assets. They literally create value in the world, and as they create value, I make money, right? I don't necessarily care about getting $50 million check or $100 $100 million check, then what? That's where most people get lost. I just saw the founder of Loom, they exited for almost $1 billion, and the guy is like, I don't know what to do with my life, and is now learning physics at one of these universities, right? So that's it. I don't know what you guys thought of this video. Let me know in the comments. But if you guys want to believe that what I just covered is an interesting path, then, and you want to kind of like work with us, partner with us in some of these verticals, we have a lot of clients in different verticals, then please click the link below and come see how we're building and scaling AI companies through this build and release AI model. Love y'all. Bye-bye.